Evet, herkese iyi akşamlar, merhabalar, hoş geldiniz. Welcome everyone. Welcome to our lesson. It is starting now. And today, what will we do? Bugün ne yapacağız? Bugün Türkçedeki zamanları genel olarak ele alacağız. Sonra zamanlar arasındaki farklardan bahsedeceğiz. Today, we will go over the basic tenses. We will generally take a look at them and we will compare each tense to the other one. That's actually the point and goal of this lesson. Comparing two or more tenses with each other and seeing their differences. This is not a lesson on the details. This is more about the general overview and how they work differently. Especially indefinite past and definite past, then continuous tense, aorist, and future. And if we have enough time left, we will use that time for some practice. If not, we will do some of that on Monday. Okay, so let me also show you the slides. First, we will start with the basic things to know the conjugation, like terminology and other things. We will see the suffixes and all the conjugations. Then that's the part about reminders, like how each tense is used. And the last two, 18 and 19, is the points and goal of the lesson. We will compare two past tenses with each other and then aorist, continuous, and future with each other. So, how to conjugate a verb? Like how do we actually use a table? How do we read a table? So there are actually three steps, but while doing these steps, there are a few things you need to pay attention to. So for example, the first step is removing the infinitive suffix. The infinitive suffix is the basic, dictionary form of a verb. Yazmak, to write. Gelmek, to come. Yapmak, to do. We do, but as a full conjugation, we don't use them in infinitive. We conjugate them. We only use infinitives as an object, but that's a future advanced grammar. For now, you should stick with conjugating a verb and removing the infinitive. So get rid of yapmak, for example. Remove this, and you get yap. And then gelmek, remove the mek, and then gel. And then remove yaz, and then you will have yaz. And the second step, now you will add the tense ending. As an example, I am using the present continuous tense suffix yapıyor, yapıyor. Yapıyor, geliyor, yazıyor. The ıyor suffix is the present continuous, like he or she is doing it. But the conjugation is not over. We also need the pronoun. Yapıyorum, geliyorum, yazıyorum. So, again, as an example, I use the first singular person. Ben yapıyorum, like I. Ben yapıyorum. And then sen yapıyorsun. It changes. Okay? And what things do you need to pay attention to? The vowel harmony, as I mentioned in the previous slide. So, when you have yapıyor, for example, the ending is but how do you know it's not geliyor or soruyor We know this from the vowel harmony. with this example, it will always be because after o in the as a fixed suffix after o there will always be a u. So soruyorsun, bakıyorsun. But you will see the endings changing. I can actually type them so you will understand what I mean. So this could be im, and Alright? And then this could be sın, not sın, sorry, just ın. Actually, yeah, it's sın. It could be sin, sun, sün. And the important thing is there's no ending for the third singular person, o. We don't say anything. We simply say o yazıyor. And this could be is, uz, üz. Let me also type this like is, uz, üz. And then again, nız, niz, nuz, nüz. These can change, that's my point. You always need to pay attention to the vowel harmony. Tenses. So maybe you will understand it more clearly when you see the examples. So let's go with the tenses. How many tenses do we have in Turkish? Actually, there are quite a few. There are even advanced tenses, but yeah, there are too many. But this lesson is about the basic ones, and the basic ones are only 5. So let's start with them. The first one, the past tense with the, and the second one, the past tense with mış, and then aorist tense. This is like the timeless tense, you know, things that happens without a fixed or specified time. And then this continuous tense, which is about the present actually. Okay, and finally the future tense. As the name implies, it is about the future. And now let's see their endings in the full table. And for this, the, as you can read in its name, so just because there are 2 suffixes, we call them past with the or past with mış, but there are of course different names like definite past, indefinite past, or just normal past, but inferential past. If you have different books, different resources, they can be called different names. Alright, and then the, mış, are. That's new. And why do we have a in parentheses? Because a is only needed when you don't have a vowel at the end of the verb. Like if you have a verb at the end, you will only use the r. Like for example, gel, there's an L at the end. So you will use the vowel, but not the A itself. You will need to choose the vowel based on the vowel harmony. And aorist tense uses actually 6-way vowel harmony. It uses both the 4-way and then plus 2-way. Okay. And ear. Again, the parenthesis implies sometimes you will not need sometimes you will need the Okay, and then future. Acak, ecek. And also the uppercase letters, they imply, as usual, as I keep saying, the vowel harmony. But this is 2-way vowel harmony. And I actually want to write this down. And how can words? I will write it here. I will write it here. So this is four-way vowel harmony. Oh, the presentation resets. I will put it back. 1 second. Okay, and then aorist is six-way. And the and mush are also four-way. Okay, so let me bring all of these back. Okay. So acak is two-way, so that means this is either acak or ecek. And then continuous tense, it is four-way. This is ıyor, iyor, uyor, üyor. All the four vowels. Four-way simply means four vowels. And aorist, six-way, this is different. This is basically 4 plus 2, so it uses both of them. And the rest is also four-way. And let's actually see some conjugations, some examples. Now, the past tense. Let's start with this first one. Ben yaptım. Yaptın. And then yaptı. Biz yaptık. Siz yaptınız. Onlar yaptılar. Also, pay attention to the endings like m, n, there's nothing, then simple eke, then nız, then lar. Yaptım, ben yaptım, I did it. Sen yaptın, you did it. O yaptı, he, she, it did it. Biz yaptık, we did it. Siz yaptınız, you did it. Onlar yaptılar, they did it. And then mush, same principle. You simply insert the mush this time instead of t, but there's an here. Maybe I can zoom in so you can see it better. Mush Why? Because after a consonant you will need a you will need a vowel. Yapmışsın, you apparently, or from what I heard, supposedly or reportedly, you did it. I keep using these adverbs like supposedly, apparently, and stuff to make a distinction. This is the simple past. You witnessed the action happening. But this is inferential. You see something, like you make a conclusion based on an evidence, or you hear it from someone else. That's the main difference. But yeah, we will talk about this later. And then yaparım. Yaparsın, yapar. Yaparız, yaparsınız, yaparlar. And continuous tense. Yapıyorum, yapıyorsun, yapıyor. Yapıyoruz, yapıyorsunuz, yapıyorlar. And finally future. Yapacağım, yapacaksın, yapacak. Yapacağız, yapacaksınız, yapacaklar. And Jasmine, this is your time to shine. Why do we have this soft G here? In like other verbs, other pronouns, we have a K. Consonant softening, exactly. Yapacağım, yapacaksın, yapacak, yapacağız. The consonant softens only when it starts with a vowel. The vowel here causes a softening effect on the last K. So there are more examples here. I'll skip this part a bit too quickly because it's the same principle. So in your free time, you can maybe use a conjugator. There are some apps or websites like online pages. You can use them and see at this table in full detail. I am only showing you the principle and how it works. Okay. Every time you are inserting the tense suffix and then the person suffix, and while doing it, you need to pay attention to the vowel harmony, consonant softening, and consonant hardening. So consonant softening, for example, here, future tense. Instead of saying gelecek kim, we say geleceğim. Instead of saying gelecekiz, we say geleceğiz. Okay? And past tense, like in this part, I said yaptım, like I used t because of this p. It depends on the verb. But now, I have this suffix, or this letter, gel. I have l at the end. Now, I don't say d, or I don't say t. I use d. The last letter of a verb determines if it's t or d. Okay? And again, same example. I try to pick a different verb each time because there are a few important things, like with okumak. There is something different in this table. I wonder if you can find it. I didn't color it. What is different now? And why it's different? Something is different in one of these columns compared to the previous ones. Yes, Aux and Jasmine. You are correct. Yes, the vowel at the end of oku. So now our vowel, so when I say at the last letter, I mean except for the infinitive suffix. So remove it. Maybe I can literally remove it here. It won't confuse you. Here, like this. Get rid of the infinitive suffix, then you have oku. And this time, it ends with u, which is a vowel. So you will need to be careful with especially continuous tense and future tense. And also aorist tense, like we don't have r, we don't have we only have these. Oh, by the way, when I say r, I don't mean the English pronunciation, I mean actually a and r, like a and r, like this. Yes, I mean we don't say it this way or this way. We don't put an extra vowel because it already ends in a vowel. So we are only having one letter. And this one, again, it already ends with a vowel, so we don't have the or u. Simply yor, okuyor. Okay, okuyorum, okuyorsun, okuyor. And with the future tense, now I will color it. At first, I wanted to hide it and try to make you guess the difference, but that was the difference, the buffer letter. Same with everything else, okuyacak. So if there are two vowels next to each other, we need to separate them. We don't like vowels coming together. We have to insert something in between, like this. U is a vowel, a is a vowel, so we need to separate them. Okuyacak. This smooth, like smoothens the pronunciation. It makes it sound more smooth, like it flutes. And yes, they need social distance. Okay? And yes, it glides like okuyacağım. If you remove the buffer, if you try saying them like this, okuyacağım, you can hear a stop, like a pause. Okuyacağım, okuyacağım. But when you insert it, okuyacağım, there's no pause, there's no stop. Okay, so maybe you can rely on your gut feeling or your ears. If something sounds weird, there's probably a buffer, and the rule to know or rule to be sure, checking if there are two vowels next to each other. Lar. Yes, great. Great. And now let's see what's next. There are two more negatives and questions. Then we will finally talk about the differences between each tense. So now let's remember the negatives. How do we make a negative conjugation? Like instead of saying I will do it, how do we say I will not do it? So again, as usual, you will have the stem. This time, as you can see by the color, before the tense, that is important. Not after it, not somewhere else, just some between the stem and the tense. You will insert this ma or me. It is two-way vowel harmony. And let's see these examples. Oh yeah, I remember. These are the positives. I wanted to do this with you. So now let's change this to negative. So instead of saying yaptım, I did it, we say yapmadım. Oh wait, I think I need to remove the animations. Every time it will go back to the same. Wait. Let's remove these. Okay. Ben yapmadım. And then sen yapma. But you pay attention that when I change or when I insert ma, the T goes back to D because there's no need for the hard anymore because they are separated. P leaves the T. So it softens. And then yapma. Yapma. Yeah, as I explained, not yapmadı, but yapmadı. The T is only there because of the P. When the P leaves the T, it goes back to D. And then yapma. Dık. Yes. And then yapma. It is the same every time you're inserting this. So I will do this a bit more quickly. Onlar yapmadılar. Correct? You're learning, Kame. This will take time. But it is very predictable. Once you learn the rules, everything will work as like a mechanism. Or like, gears in a mechanism. Everything is based on a rule. Again, yapmamış. Yapmamışız. Yapmamışsınız. Yapmamışlar. And okay, the aorist is tricky, so I want to do this with you. I will be a bit slow. How do we say negative in aorist tense? Yes, there's a Z sometimes, but sometimes there is literally nothing. No, Kame, let me do it. It is tricky. This one is special. Yup, mom. You get rid all of the aorist tense and insert the ma, the negative one. But not always. Sometimes, like you stick with them, but change it, like turn it to Z. And then yapma again. Turn the aorist into Z and then insert the negative. Yapmaz. Yapmayız. And this becomes a buffer. Yes. Yap. Let's insert our negative. Yapma. Yapma. And like when I leave it this way, you can even see that it is like kind of wrong. Yapmarsınız. So you need to transform the aorist into Z. Yapmazsınız. Yapma. Again, change this. Yapmazlar. No R, Kame. That's the tricky part with aorist. Sometimes you add nothing, just mom, but sometimes you add Z. If you want an easy trick, if you look at the table, you can see a pattern. Only the first syllables, like singular first, plural first, they get nothing, but the others, instead of R, they have Z. So R turns into Z, except for first and like plural, singular and plural first. The first one was onlar yaparlar, but it becomes yapmazlar. Okay. And now let's go to continuous tense. Ben Jason, now you understand. It is the negative of aorist. Yes. So, ma. I can insert ma, but there's a is. It's kind of stuck in there. You need to save it and just remove it. But not enough, like this. Yapmıyorum. Again. Yap. Ma. So you need to like they are having an intention there. They don't like each other. You need to save them. So just send a away, and it becomes like this. Again, yapma, send it away, yapmıyor. Okay, yapmıyoruz, yapmıyorsunuz. Okay, you can keep typing. I can slow down. Yes, yapmıyorsunuz and yapmıyorlar. All right. Let's do the future. Close enough, Kame. You forgot one buffer letter. Or one more vowel, one more syllable. Yapma, but it can't stay this way. You need to this. Yapmayacağım. Okay, and yapmayacaksın. Every time you put a ma, just because the R, the future tense has a vowel starting with a vowel, it becomes two R's together, so you separate them. Okay, yapmayacak. This time again, they don't like each other, but you can't send it away. So you need to put something between them. Yes, yapmayacağız. Evet, and then yapmayacaklar. It keeps getting longer. Yes, exactly. I know this looks very confusing, very long, but everything has a function. Yap, the stem, ma, the negative, the y separates these two as here. Separate stem, acak, future'lar, they. They will not do it. Onlar yapmayacaklar. Okay, and question. This one is more easy. You don't need to insert anything. You just need to move them. Like I will go to this, for example. As you can see, after tense, on the stem you have a pronoun, but with the question, you move the pronoun on the question. Or there are of course some conditions for this, and let me show you. Let's have our table again. Okay, and let's remove the animations because it messes up with the presentation. Okay, so let's do this. Let's turn them into questions. And no, I mean the condition I was talking about with this one, the past tense, it is an exception. You don't move the endings with this one. Okay, yes, so yaptım mı. This time it is simply mı. Yaptın mı? Yaptı mı? Yaptık mı? Yaptınız mı? Yaptılar mı? Okay? You don't move them. It is actually easy. It is an exception. So I can make an exclamation mark here. But you will need to move them with the others. Now the question particles are mı, mi, mu, mü. And when you put them here, yapmış mıyım? I can give a question particle a different color, like let's make it yellow. Okay, yapmış mıyım? Yes, Kame. And let's keep like this. Let's keep doing them. Yapmış mısın? Maybe you can say like transferring it, removing it, or maybe you can just say inserting it between tense and pronoun, and there needs to be a space between. O yapmış mı? This time, this looks like just question because there's no ending for this. Yapmış mısınız? Yapmış. This one is also tricky. You don't separate it. You don't move it. Yapmışlar mı? Yapmışlar mı? This one is also an exception, so I will also mark it. Just this one. Okay. And then yapar mıyım? Yapar mısın? And then yapar mı? Yapar mıyız? Yapar mısınız? Yaparlar mı? Okay. And yapıyor. I want to pay attention that the question particle is not always mı. It is the vowel harmony, like here. This time it's a mu. Yapıyor muyum? Yes. Yapıyor muyum? Yapıyor musun? Yapıyor mu? Wait, I need to change the colors. Okay. Yapıyor muyuz? Correct. Yapıyor muyuz? Yapıyor musunuz? Yapıyorlar mı? Okay, yes, correct. Now let's do the future. Yapacak. Wow. The full conjugation. Impressive. Yapacak mısın? Yapacak mı? Yapacak mıyız? Ah, you forgot im. Yes. Yapacak mısınız? Yapacaklar mı? Oops. Ah, thank you, Tarık. I forgot to edit this. Yapacak mıyım? Yeah. So yeah, when you separate the suffixes, their condition can change. Like the first one, let me bring this back. Yapacak, like yapacağım. This means I will do it, and the K is softened into soft G because of this vowel. But when you separate them with the question particle, there's no more reason for this to be soft. So you change it back to K. Okay. And of course, pay attention to these exceptions. The doesn't separate them, it keeps the same endings. And these, actually all of them, these are all exceptions. Like the plural person, like onlar, is the exception. And now we can finally talk about the meanings and see examples. So thank you everyone for staying for 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's probably the longest lesson in this year. Thank you for your participation. Like, it is almost 2 hours in 20 minutes, but there's still 20 people in the lesson. That's great. That's a perfect motivation. See you on Monday. And kendinize iyi bakın. Sonra görüşürüz. Herkese iyi akşamlar.